we're going to start in Supta Virasana. If you have a knee issue, you can easily do this sitting in a chair and straddle it over a bolster. Maybe your knees can go that far back, you know, and then maybe you could put that in front of a desk and lean on the desk and get this similar extension in the trunk that I'll talk more about in just a second. If that roll is too big, you could roll up a blanket, make it a little smaller. Or if all of that is too much, you could just take your feet back, curl your toes under, and lean yourself forward on a desk, okay? Everything is possible in yoga class. For the rest of you, we're gonna put a bolster on the floor, a blanket just for comfort. I'm gonna kneel on the blanket. And for comfort, for me, and especially for those who have stiffness in the ankle area where sitting on your heels is just torture for your ankle, this will also give you a chance to roll up an edge of the blanket. But don't be too worried because the weight isn't going to be on your ankles once we go forward. You're going to take off your glasses and sit up tall, and it's the tailbone, pubic bone alignment. So give yourself that kind of a firming up action, and then extend yourself forward. And you're going to pull your bolster to you so that your forearms are on the bolster, your sit bones are stretching back towards your heels, your abdomen is lifting, and we're going to open up those armpits. So the outer armpits go down, your palms are facing, and you put your forehead on your bolster so that the skin of your forehead is pulling down toward your nose. And settle your shoulder blades down your back and take your sit bones toward your heels. Knees are apart, toes are together. Observe your breath. Draw the body inward. By that I mean there's a firming. It's not a strong action, but we're not just hanging there. We are creating some structure and letting that do the work for us. Observe your breath. Notice how it is right now. If you've been running around before class, it might be a little short. You know, if you've been just hanging out, having a relaxed morning, it might be more relaxed. So observe your breath and observe how this pose is working for you, and bring yourself into a quiet, steady place. And take the opportunity to take several big breaths into this mid-upper back area. And in fact, any place on your back that seems to be troubled. But spreading the back ribs is always a welcome change. Feel how perhaps you can now extend your Arms further forward, but keeping the shoulder blades down. So the shoulder blades will ride up, but they won't flare up from the back and your shoulders go into your ears. Your waist gets longer. Get a stretch. All right, let's come up from that. We can get rid of our bolster for now. We don't need the blanket. Going into downward dog. And, you know, I had, especially as I've gotten a little older and my arthritis has gotten a little worse, I've learned the value of easing into poses, maybe doing them longer and building up, opening up tight places. So we will be doing that today, just so you have an idea that that's okay. Up you go, hips up. Adjust your feet. And maybe can you roll your shoulders up here with this weight on? And can you take the shoulder blades up and down with the weight on? Knees are bent. I'm just fiddling for a moment. And then I'm going to take the pose, pressing the knuckles, extending the arms, taking the head in between the arms, looking at the floor. But you see, I'm still easy. I'm easing into the back area to tuck the tailbone, lift the abdomen. Noticing where I might be holding a little tension and releasing it. Heels go back and down. Legs go up and back. Take a few breaths. And then let's come out. You can sit back on your heels or sweep your feet to the side if you have knee issues. Okay. So for me, these first thing in the morning practice sessions, kind of gritty. But I've found that if I'm patient with myself, things come along. Now, if this hurts your hands too much, you can put your hands on blocks. You can work with your hands in a chair, all right? So there's always a way to modify what we're doing. We go again. So remember that the knuckles and the fingers take the weight first. If you can go up with the heels of your hand up, it's good practice to do that. And then stay way up high for a moment and just see how tall you can get. And then let the heels of the hands come down, but reluctantly, and see how that strengthens your arms, firms up the trunk, and helps the whole purpose become more clear. And breathe. And come down. Sit back. And then one more time. As smoothly and gracefully as you can imagine yourself. Lift your hips up, press the knuckles down. Back along the shoulders, outer armpits down. Open the armpits, extend your trunk. Draw the heels back and down. The hips back and up. That tailbone to pubic bone action always there. And breathe. All right, let's walk our hands to our feet. Walk them in. Make your feet parallel. Bend your knees a bit. Let the hips sink down. Walk a little more this way. Let your hips sink down. Lengthen your trunk. Bring the tailbone pubic bone action into play. And then begin straightening your legs. It's not important that your legs get straight. It's important that you keep your ribs on your thighs. If you just want to get your legs straight, you know, maybe they'll be like that, but you won't be stretching these muscles in the hamstring and the glute that we're asking for. And when you get to where it's all you can do without your hands, use your hands, push the floor forward to help your trunk stay in contact. So I'm not 100% straight at this moment. I could be, and I might be in a minute, but not now. But if you rush, the quality of your action decreases. All right, hands on your hips and come up. Well, that's a good morning. Now we're going to work on Trikonasana. Trikonasana is a really wonderful morning time pose. It works in the hip sockets, in the low back, but the whole back, and it works your whole body. I'm going to turn my mat perpendicular to the wall, start in at the wall. And I'm going to start with my chair, with the seat of the chair facing away from the wall. Now, when I do the pose, I'm going to move my chair onto the mat, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to start. I thought I had everyone muted, but I don't understand. No, that's what it says, but that's not what's happening. Okay. At any rate, so you can see. So the little toe side of my foot is at the wall, being sure that the heel presses the wall firmly. Then my other foot, I'm going to step out and step out. I want to keep a straight line here, so I don't want my foot necessarily going either way. There are reasons to do it that way, but for now, we'll stay with this. Then, just as always, it's this pelvic action along with the leg straightening, the lifting up the trunk, shoulders down. Then I'm going to turn, this is my right leg, just like yours. I'm going to turn that out. The chair is going to be kind of right at the shin, or right at the ankle, let's say. It depends. And honestly, in many ways, when I practice, I will just use enough sticky mat for my feet, and so the chair can move easily. All right, so we're going to get squared up. So I'm letting this knee come forward a moment, just so I know what squaring up my hips means. Then I know I let this knee come forward. So as I straighten my legs, I have to work extra hard on this leg to roll it to the back and get my hips square and lift up tall. We're going to take our arms up because it helps us to understand the lift that we're looking for in the trunk. You feel that freedom. Then take an inhale, really charge your legs up more and lift. And as you lift, scrub that heel in. Come over and keep that front leg straight. Press the wall with the back heel. You come down and touch the chair. Now, if the chair is too low for you, you can move the chair further out and touch the back of the chair, okay? And we will go lower in a minute for those who can, but it's good to start modestly. Working over the back of the chair like this is a bit of a motivator to extend. Now work your thighs. Roll those hips so that they're perpendicular to the floor. And your trunk is perpendicular to the floor in this length here. Stretch your shoulders, roll them down. You can pick up that chair if you need to get your shoulder down. And then come up. Square up your feet. Step in and turn around. So now your right heel and little toe are at the wall. You're going to step out with your feet parallel so that you know where you are in space. Then turn the left toes out. Get a good distance. Get that foot absolutely perpendicular. Then square up your hips. Adjust, get everything ready. Then as you straighten, roll those thighs back. And then I am bow-legged. And so my knees really want to turn in. I always have to check. And sometimes I have to repeat. You got to know yourself. Lift up. Exhale, extend out. Press the heel of the right foot into the wall. Draw the hips up. Extend. Move the hips toward the wall. There. When you find the chair, press on the chair. Draw that left hip forward, right thigh back. Roll your trunk so that the whole side of your body is perpendicular to the floor. Don't be too pushy, but know we're going in that direction. We're going to do this a couple of times. And then come up. Square your feet. Step in. Okay. Now, whatever level you started, I want you to see if you can take it a little further. So if you started with your hand on the back of the chair, this time see, can you keep your form and take it to the seat? If you were working on the seat of the chair, and this is all a personal thing too. I mean, if you were doing your mightiest to do your last thing, repeat it, okay? But if the last thing was relatively easy, but a good opportunity to observe your form, then let's progress, okay? So we're going to progress to a tall block, okay? If possible. If not, what to do. But it's the same setup. So, left heel at the wall, right foot went. Remember, ideally, if you raise your right arm, that wrist should be over that ankle. It's a little hard to tell exactly, but you get a general idea. Then turn the right toes out. Turn your hip back. Roll those thighs front to back. Glutes are firm. Ab lifts up. Trunk lifts up. Shoulders are down. Extend that right arm and inhale, lift. Exhale, come over. Press that right foot into the floor. Draw the hip back toward the wall. The left heel presses the wall and that leg lifts. Keep extending and lengthening your trunk, drawing your hips underneath. I can tell you that this is an entirely different experience than I had an hour or so ago. So warming up and practicing makes a big difference. Then come on. Square your feet. Same size. Stand for a moment. Take a breath. Then step your feet apart, nice and wide. It's easier to get the feet a little wider, I think, when one foot is at the wall. At least it is for me. I think I feel a little bit more secure. So get your hips squared. Lift up. Lift up in your trunk, shoulders down, neck long. Stretch your arms. Turn those left toes out. Now, hips, legs, trunk, lift. Inhale. And as you come to the side, exhale. Find your block. Bring it close to your foot. Press on the block to extend the left leg. And at the same time, press on the wall to extend the right leg. Make them strong and lengthen your trunk. Then roll the ribs, roll the pelvis. And stretch both arms. Slow, steady breath. And pull that top arm as you come up. And square up and step together. This last one, if you feel you could, take the block lower. If you're struggling where you are, stay there and work with that. Step your feet wide apart. There. Hips squared. Up you go. Get ready. Turn your right toes out. Square your hip back so it's perpendicular to the wall. We know this knee strain. We're going to fix it by using these muscles as we straighten. Once we've straightened, maintain that and lift. Stretch your arms. Inhale. Lift out of your waist. Exhale. Make those legs, top of the legs, go toward the wall. Front goes away from the wall. Draw that right hip under you. Lengthen your trunk. Shoulders down. And then revolve. So your shoulder and your knee and your hip should all be pretty much in the same line. That's the goal. At least that's what we're imagining we're going for. And then inhale and come up. Square up your feet. Step in. Change sides. Right heel at the wall. Left foot way out. Lift up. Tailbone, pubic bone. Lift up. So lift again. Supercharge, get ready. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you to turn your left toes out. And then we're going to exhale. That would have been awkward. Take that left hip in. Extend. So these legs are, everything works very, very hard. Now, firm the hips in the middle, draw the abdomen up. Lengthen your waist, revolve your trunk. Head in line. And come up. Square up your feet and step in. And stand for a moment in Tadasana. Big toes together. Heels ideally together, but some of us folks don't quite make it elegantly. But we work to improve it. Breathe. So a triangle pose, these standing poses have a vigorous nature. So feel the energy you generated and welcome it. A good way to start your day. Okay, now we're going to work again. I'm going to move my mat. My floor is slightly slippery. So I want my foot on the mat. We've gotten so used to this. But I also need a mat for my chair. So if you have to make a choice, put one on the chair. Because it'll make it more comfortable for you. This isn't so bad. We learned, some of you may remember that I used to always teach this class this way through the chair. It was taught this way for a very long time. And that's fine for people with certain leg length. And for others, the back leg takes a beating. And there's still not anything wrong with it. But what we found is that if we angle this front, see the front edge of the chair is coming at this angle to my leg, then my back leg is freer to do what I need it to do. So this should not really bother you. But if it does, you can put a sticky mat in the seat of the chair. If your foot slips, put something on the floor. All right, so this is going to be Parsvakonasana. So there's several ways to set up. But this little triangle of chair goes right under your thigh. Okay? Without that interference, first set up your feet. Get back heel at the wall, feet are parallel, lift up, just as before, turn the foot. You can bend your knee now. Just scoop this angle of chair right underneath your thigh. Then, go back and straighten your legs, lift up, lift your arms. Now, keep the sense of lifting even though you're bending your knee. You can adjust your chair in a minute. Pay attention to what's happening when you bend your knee. And I realize that if I bend more, my knee's going to be past my ankle. So I'm going to scoot my foot out a little more now. That's better. Now I'm going to put my chair right under my thigh. Maybe I can take my foot out a little more then. So this is supporting my thigh. Now I have a way you can hold the back of the chair, work with your legs and your pelvis to create a smooth line. This part of it is Virabhadrasana too. But now, lift up and we're going to extend over. Bend at this hip crease, press on the foot, on the floor, and extend. So the trunk stays straight. It doesn't bend. Roll the ribs, roll the pelvis forward, stretch your top arm. And lift up. You have a chair to sit on right there. And switch sides. Okay. So in your own environment, you can decide slipperiness or lack of, however is the best way for you to set up so that you can securely practice. Regardless of fitness level, if you're afraid you're going to slip, it slows you down a little bit. All right, so just have your chair close to what you want. Feet wide apart. Turn that left foot out. Now do the work to get the hips to straighten up in that socket. And again, especially for arthritic people, you get your hips, your low back, your whatever. This slow, easy work is very, very good for us. Stretch your arms. Keep that sense of lift as you bend your knee. Scoot your chair right up under your thigh. Maybe you can take a little support. Move your foot a little further forward. Get your pelvis straight, your trunk straight. Knees open. So take some time here, pushing the tailbone forward, bringing the thighs back, lifting. Then with the right arm up, going to just slide your forearm down your leg, keeping the side of the body straight. Push the left side forward, soften the right side down, shoulder blades in, open your armpits, breathe. That right leg extends completely. That heel pushes the wall. And then come up. Square up your feet and step in. Go back to the first side. And square up. Now, if this was good for you, we're going to take it a step further. If this was a struggle for you, you keep at it, right? All right. Square up. Lift up. Breathe. Stretch your arms. Lift the trunk. Bend the knee. Place the chair. Find the support. Adjust your footing so that you are holding yourself up for the most part. The chair is there as a guide for you. Extend over the side and open up. Bring the forearm down. You can reach back and grab the leg of the chair and open up. Gives you a lot more leverage to open your trunk. So press the floor with your legs. We're not resting on the chair. If you're going well, bring the arm over alongside your ear. And come on. I love working in the chair because I have a place to sit down when I'm done. A little laziness on my part, I suppose. Last one. You're wide apart. And get the chair close to where you think you're going to want it. Then set up. Legs, pelvis, trunk. Turn the left toes out. Do it again. So this lift, the 4 thigh is a lot of work to do. Bend that knee. Keep the trunk lifting. Keep the knee back. Find your chair. Extend out and over. You put your hand on your knee, your forearm on your knee. You can reach back and grab the leg of the chair and take it deeper. Pressing that right heel into the wall. Feel the lengthening along the right side. Press the left foot on the floor. Lift off that chair just a bit. And that right arm over if you can. And then come up. And just sit in your chair in Dandasana for a moment. Sit forward. Your heart rate may be up a bit. One way to calm your heart rate a little quicker. You can feel your heart beating. So if you count the beats and inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and you maintain sort of a controlling breath. You're riding with the breath, and then ever so slightly, you slow down, it slows down. Let your breath be nice and big and full and appreciative that you could work this hard to get yourself all heart rated up. Okay. Now we're going to get on the floor. Now this one is Anatasana. We've done this at the wall, and I'll ask you to do it away from the wall as we can. A nice way to hold yourself accountable is to line yourself up with the very edge of your mat. So as I lay down, I'm going to put my heel, my ankle bone, right there on the edge of my mat. Then I'm going to scoot. I'm going to bring my hip bone right on the edge of my mat as I lay down, my armpit right on the edge of my mat. Now, we've learned that the balance comes from pressing the heel. And a tendency we have is to press the toes. And so I'm going to have you take your top leg out and down, rest it on the bottom, feet are flexed. Put your top arm on your side. Draw your tailbone in, pubis up, lift up through your chest so you can feel your upper back move in slightly. And see if that brings you to a little bit more balanced place. Now then, the next thing, you can use a hand for support. We're going to take our arm on the floor, thumb is open, lift up, extend your elbow more. Fingers are going to point back down. And we're going to take the armpit back down to the edge of the mat. So having this measurement here is helpful. Let that shoulder move down toward the mat. Oh, forgot to tell you to get a strap. You probably will need one. Well, we'll do it without the strap the first time. Okay, so then we're going to take that top foot up and bend the knees. And you can use this front hand for a little balance if you need to. Or you can hang on to that knee, pull it toward your chest. If you want to play a little bit more with the stretch, you can stretch that leg up, flex your foot. And then come down. Coming down is the hard part because you want to quit. Change sides. And while you're changing, you might want to grab a strap. We'll use it next time. So line yourself up. You know, I was getting ready to teach this, and I was going to teach lining it up. I was being a little bit egotistical about it, I have to say, well, yeah, I'm glad I don't have to line it up. And then, and then I practiced some, and I thought, I might be a little bit from going back a step. So never be afraid to step back. All right. And double check. This is the beauty of Iyengar yoga. Mr. Iyengar himself, many, many times, would go take a step back and check, take a step back, check himself. Lay yourself down. Pressure in the heel. Bend your elbow, thumb is open. Right above your ear, the fingers point down. Lengthen that arm out a little bit so that the armpit can come down. Keep your elbow in line. Don't let it come forward. Don't let your hips roll back. Bring the top leg on top of the bottom. Feet together, feet flexed. Top arm on your side, if you can balance. So the more you can get the armpit down and the heel of your hand, the heel down, the chest, now tailbone and pubic bone come in, and the upper back lifts. Improve your balance. All of that alignment will improve your balance. Maintain your awareness of all that. You can roll the knee out, pull it up, pull it in. If you put your hand on the front, as I'm doing, gives you a way to pull the knee back, just as we did in the last pose, Parsvakonasana. And the hip has to press forward, trunk stays long. And if that's going well for you, you can straighten your leg up. Keep everything straight and breathe. I think this pose is great fun. Let's come down. Because it tells you right away when you lose focus. Let's change sides. I'll tell you. Let's do that, and then we're just gonna move through a few other things because I think it's important to finish. The ankle on the mat, hip on the mat, armpit. It's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. This time with your belt, have it ready so you can loop your foot. Get yourself lined up. Okay, so bend the elbow. When you do, it's helpful to just lift that elbow up and extend it forward a little bit so you have a better chance of getting that armpit down. Okay, so lift your upper back, lift your chest, tailbone, pubic bone, ankle on the floor, pressing, not too hard. Then I'm going to bring the top leg up. I'm going to loop that foot, maybe, yeah, and take it up. Come on, there it is. So for me, working with the strap, it's one of those sort of unfortunate necessities at times because here I have less control because of the strap being loose. But I can't get my leg up if I don't use it sometimes, right? So take the good with the bad. Another thing, don't overdo. Start with your leg perpendicular to the floor and keep the bottom leg straight, armpit down, everything working. So don't overdo. And then after a moment, can you increase and maintain the form? If you go directly to your longest, strongest stretch, you will lose awareness of detail. So go slow and breathe. Try not to fall over. And if you do giggle, it's okay. And then slowly come down. Same kind of control you used when you went up. And then second side. Use the aligning tool. Ankle, knee, hip, armpit, all on the line. Put your head In your hand, fingers pointing down. Line up those legs. Press the hips firm. Get yourself well placed on the floor. Lift your chest. Put your top hand right on your side. Then begin, firm the bottom, lift that top leg. Go slow. See if you can catch your foot with the belt. And put your arm on the inside of the knee with the bent. That helps to open the hip. And opening the hip helps your balance. Then begin to extend your legs slowly. First, go to 90 degrees. We do that because we want to be sure that the hip bone is well seated into the hip socket. Now, if you're doing well there, then you can begin to bend your elbow and pull that leg over, nice and slow, elbow on the inside of the knee. Keep breathing. And then very slowly, we're going to come with control. Take the hand down from your head. And then bend your knees and roll forward. We only have 10 minutes left. Time really flies. So I want us to do, I wanted us to take advantage of Upavishta for just a moment. So sit way to the back of your mat, but sit on your mat. Or if your legs are very long, you may have to have your sit bones off your mat, but your heels need to be on your mat. Oh, you can keep your strap, by the way. We won't do all the contortions I have in mind, but we'll get a little bit of this done. All right, so now we want to sit tall. Of course, just lift your hips up with your hands and shove your heels out. Just lift up. If your both hands are on the back, you get a double bonus because it also lifts your chest at the same time. So see if you're set up, your heels definitely on the mat. Then can you keep your thighs down and your trunk lifted as you slowly release the hands? Turn the fingers forward in the cup-shaped position. Press the fingertips on the floor. Draw the chest up, shoulders down, head lifted, neck long. There is a balance here because if you get too busy with the top, the bottom gets light. The legs become light on the floor. If you're too busy with the bottom, the top gets light. So how can you balance? Work back and forth. So lean forward a bit. Get more weight on your legs. Keep that weight. Press, press, press. Draw the pelvis up. Chest up. Shoulders back, head back. Can you find that balance and breathe? You might not think of these poses as balancing poses, and of course, per se, they are not. But they require a balance of energy and effort. Breathe. Fingertips at the back, keeps the chest open. Elbows bent, and breathe. Now, can we maintain this? Bring the fingertips to the front. Again, press the legs down, lift the trunk, open the chest, pull the shoulders back. Lift up. Press the legs down again with a little more vigor and lean further forward. Bend your elbows. Walk your hands out so that your fingers are pretty much under your shoulders as you go. Some are more flexible than others. If you are a practitioner and you're familiar with grabbing the big toes, go ahead. But if it makes your back round, don't do it. You have to press your legs more, lift your chest more. Make those legs really work. The elbows lift up, abdomen lifts up, and breathe. And then come up. All right. Draw your feet in. Baddha Konasana. Join the soles of your feet. Pull them into you. Then lift your hips and push your hips toward your heels. Now hold yourself up here with your hands. Put your hands behind and lift up your hips a little bit. Make them light on the floor. You don't have to leave the floor necessarily. But by doing that, you'll be able to release your legs a little easier. And you can take one down and then see how far the other one will go. And take that one down, let the other one come up. Work back and forth. And you may get a little more cooperation than you might have just hitting it straight on. Now we know that the full pose is you grab your toes and so on. But mainly we're interested in just opening right now. We don't always have to do the full pose. I'd rather us be open at the end of this class. All right. So now Shavasana. So you're going to have a blanket for your head. Take off your glasses. Shavasana is so special. Mr. Iyengar says this is the hardest pose in the book. And if you ever look through Light on Yoga, which is his sort of masterpiece on yoga, you will be shaking your head. What he means is that we are asked to be fully present without any stimulus to hold our attention. It's very difficult to keep that mind still. So that's our job right now. So we're going to lay ourselves down just perfectly on the floor. We're going to lay down. I like to go to my elbows first and pull myself toward my head a little bit so that the skin of the hip is pulled toward my heels. My blanket's too high. So I'm going to move it so it's just under my head, but touching my shoulders, not under them, just touching them. And for those of you who have neck insecurity, you could take a small roll here. Or if you're having neck pain, a small roll here is if you have a headache, very reassuring. Okay. Now, just lift up one shoulder, tuck it, and take it down. Lift the other shoulder, tuck it, take it down. Join your feet for the moment. Roll the inner thighs down. Draw the pelvis up. So this is laying down Tadasana. Chest is lifted, shoulders are back, head is back. Know your place. Know where everything is. And then once you've investigated that, then on your next exhale, begin to release the body. And as you breathe and release the body, the eyes will feel ready to close. Let the eyelids gently move over the eyeballs. So it's a relaxing action rather than a willful action. Many of us are accustomed to having our feet a little further apart than this. But it can be good to stay here for a few breaths, noticing which leg relaxed more. How does it feel on the skin at your ankle, on your lower leg and upper leg? How does it feel in the pelvic area? All the way up. Notice if there's imbalance. Now is the time to adjust for that. You may need to adjust your shoulders. I usually do. And then extend your right leg first, lift the heel up. You can move it out a bit, and then extend the left one, move the heel up, release the skin, so lift your legs slightly and then lay them down again. See if you feel straight. Once you have set yourself as perfectly as possible, then let go. Let your eyes relax more. Allow your eyeballs to rest way back deep in the socket and have them look down as if looking inward. Not only in a metaphysical way, but in a physical way. Noticing, observing. And as you observe places with more or less tension, more or less balance, subtle adjustments can take place. Ask for perfection. Ask both sides of your back to rest on the floor evenly. Both hips, both shoulders, even. And allow that relaxation to extend out your legs to your feet. You may be ready for one more final little adjustment. Down your arms to your hands. Can help to gently open the fingers completely and then let them relax. To your face, asking all the muscles of your face to soften, relax back toward the floor. And the same is true for the muscles in your scalp, back of your neck, even your ears. Soften, move back toward the floor. Observe your breathing, just as we did when we began class. Notice what the normal breath is at this point. And with the tenderness of a mother to a child, encourage that breath to become smooth and even. It is a full breath, but it is without effort. It becomes more full as you release and open and welcome that healing energy. That energy is called prana, P-R-A-N-A, prana. It's the energy in all things. Soften yourself so that that energy flows through you. Slow, steady breath. becoming more and more inclusive of every part of your body. No restriction, full freedom to move that breath to any place where you have an issue. Maybe it's your back, maybe it's your knee, maybe it's your neck, whatever the issue might be, wherever it might be. You have the ability to focus some of that energy into that area. Feel the density of it be released. Imagining that area, in that area, the prana moves just as easily as it does everywhere else. And that place that has been out of place is now with the whole. Now our time is coming to an end. These wonderful tools are yours whenever you want to lay down and give yourself that gift of loving, compassionate energy, healing. For now, let's begin deepening our breath and drawing it back into the center a little more. Slowly move your fingers and toes and your wrists and ankles. Bend one leg at a time. Put your feet on the floor. Rest your hands on your trunk for a moment. A couple more nice breaths. Feels all different in a different position, but it's still there. Then roll on your right side. We'll take that right arm up, roll over, rest your head on your arm or on your blanket, whatever is there that's comfortable for a moment. And then roll forward, roll your chest forward, push up with your left hand and with your right. Slowly come to a sitting position where you can sit in a balanced, comfortable way. Lift your chest. Release your thighs. Feel this gentle firming in the muscles in your pelvis. Tailbone, pubic bone, lift the pelvic floor. The lower abdomen is engaged. We're not gripping, but we're giving attention. Join your palms, thumb side to the trunk. Lift your trunk, shoulders down. Take a moment to bow your head and be grateful for all the blessings of your life. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming.